Hello guys, Lid here. So Abyss just got buffed, so we're going to test Abyss today in this video, and we're going to test the Abyss propagation first because I still have all the setup, so it's a lot easier to do. And the next video we will only test the Abyss. So with the Abyss propagations, we're going to use All Flame Emperor of Propagations. This is going to substitute monster pack in area with the special rare monster. I think it's a fungal druid. If you kill this monster, it's going to spread its own rare modifier to the rest of the rare in the maps. And the interaction between this mechanic with Abyss is it's going to transfer the modifier to the monster around the Abyss, not the special Abyss rare monster itself. And when you kill the monster around the Abyss, it will send its soul to the Abyss, and the Abyss field will open, and the special Abyss rare will coming out. And this special Abyss monster will take the modifier from this monster that you kill. And it's not always going to take all the modifiers, sometimes it only takes some of the modifiers. And this is the reason why it's a lot harder to scale the number of the modifier on the Abyss. If you do your map properly, you're probably going to get something like 20 to 30 modifier. And the highest number I've seen is 63, I think. I only get like 3 of them, around like 60 modifier. It's pretty rare because the first is the mod that you get from the fungal druid is not always the different mod. Sometimes it's the same mod and it will count as one. And second is the Abyss rare monster itself not always take all the modifiers, so you have to go through 2 RNG layer, which make it a lot harder to get that big number of modifier on the Abyss rare monster. So because of the interaction, the way you clear the maps will give you a very different result. You need to go to the boss first, so you can get rid of the boss altar, and then you clear the area that do not have Abyss. And this is the reason why we're going for City Square, because City Square is a lot easier to navigate on that map. So you can always go to the middle and you can avoid fighting the monster on the edges. And after you clear the rest of the area, and then you go to the Abyss. So you shouldn't go through the Abyss, you shouldn't kill any monster around the Abyss before you clear the rest of the area. Because if you kill the monster around the Abyss, that's mean when you kill the fungal druid, the modifier doesn't go anywhere because you already killed the monster. So the Abyss doesn't get the benefit from the monster. It will still get modifier because Nemesis is going to give the modifier, but it's not going to be as good as if you kill the druid first. So I hope this makes sense. And we're going to increase the pack size of the fungal druid by using the Betrayal Scarab of the All Flame. And then we're going to give them a lot of modifier by using 2 Horn Scarab of Nemesis. And for the last slot of the Scarabs, I'm using Abyss Scarab of Crystal. This Scarab is pretty good, I think it's pretty decent, but it has a caveat. The first caveat is you need to clear the Abyss pit by pit. And the reason for that one is because how the crystal works, the crystal only spawn after you close the pit. So let's say that you open all the pit, that you just rush to the Abyss and you just open all the pits, and then you close the first pit, the crystal spawn, but the rest of the pit is already spawning all the monster. So you don't really get the benefit from the crystal. What you should do with Abyss Scarab of Crystal is you open the first pit, you close the first pit, and the crystal spawn, and then you go to the second pit. So this is the first caveat of crystal, that you cannot just rush to the pits. You have to clear them pit by pit, and that way you can keep increasing the difficulty of the subsequent Abyss monster. And the second caveat from this Scarab is depending on how many Abyss pit you have. For example, like in like really bad RNG, you're going to have like 4 Abyss pit, and that feels pretty bad. But when you have like a lot of pit, and that is when this crystal become really strong. So that's the second caveat of these Scarabs. Now, if you do not want to use this Scarab, the second best option that I found is Scarab of Whips. With Scarab of Whips, you don't have to care about how you clear the Abyss. So generally your map will be faster and usually also easier because Abyss Crystal also make the Abyss monster a lot tougher. And that's basically going to multiply when you have a lot of modifier inside that rare Abyss. But based on my testing, Abyss Crystal is a little bit better, but not by a huge margin. So if you do not want to use Abyss Scarab Crystal, you can also go for Whips. As for the maps, I'm using T16.5 and I'm going for Hybrid Currency and Scarabs. You can choose either of them based on the result of the testing. I got pretty good Scarab, I got pretty good currency, so I think you can go either way. So if you want to go Scarabs, you can go for 90% Scarab, and then you put the Scarab chisel there. And if you want to go for currency, you can go for 90 currency, and then you put currency chisel on your maps. So I think you can choose both ways depending on which one that you want. Usually Scarab is more consistent, but in terms of result, currency is usually better. So the choice is really up to you, but on this test, I do go for hybrid Scarab and currency. As for the Abyss passive tree, this is how the passive tree looks like. First thing first, because we are using Astrolabe, you have to take this node. Do not forget to take that. And then we take this Scarab block node, and then we take bunch of Scarab's node. Divination is the best one, I think. The second one is probably ambush, because the normal ambush also worth quite a lot of currency. And we're going to take all the special modifier over here, and also all the pack size here, and also over here. Now for the altars, I'm using blue. You can also go for red. It's just depending on which one your build can handle. So pick the altar based on your build. And the next option you can go for, if you want to go for currency, that you can drop some of these Scarab nodes, like this one, and you can go for beyond. Like you can take this one. This will give you more currency, and of course with Endless Tide, Sand of Blood, and try to cap the monster attraction here, and also the small caster here. Usually beyond is better if you want to farm currency. So that's a little bit change you can do if you want to go full currency. And for the Abyss itself, we do not take the reward, because obviously we're using crystal. You're not going to have any reward chest except for the last pit, and which is why we still take the Skittering Darkness, because the Skitter Lock only spawn at the last pit. And I think that's it for the passive tree. It's pretty standard. So next, let's go to the result. So I did 20 map tests, and this is the result. 25 div per hour is not bad. It's not super crazy either. And as you can see, we got like some divine, 9 divine. I think 2 of them is come from Astrolabe, and the rest of them is from the map. So 7 divine in 20 maps, I think is pretty decent. We also got like Faldo Box and Fracturing Orbs. All of them come from maps. We also get some decent Scarab, like Cloister is pretty good currency. And then I think we got like Bloodline too. Here, preservations and all that stuff. We also get like some terror. So, but from the result, the currency and Scarab is pretty close. Like currency is 80 divine, Scarab is 16 divine. So this is why I say that you can go for either focus on Scarab or currency only. I think the strategy can do both of them. So it's really up to you. And I done this 20 map in 1 hour and 16 minutes, which is I think is pretty slow. I think this is like 4 to 5 minutes per maps average. Ideally, you want to be around 3 to 4 minutes. Some map will take longer just because sometimes the mod stacking actually works. And then in the end, you have like a monster that are really hard to kill, and it's going to take you a bit of time to kill them. So that map going to take longer. But generally speaking, you want your map around 3 to 4 minutes. I think you can push this number higher than this, which make the strategy I think is pretty decent. And also you get a lot of fracture items. So for example, like I got this one on these 20 maps. I got this one profane one with tier 1 spell crit chance. This one is 2 divine, and this is a jewel with 5 damage over time multiplier. This is the second time I get this jewel. This jewel is 40 each. So there's a few things like that that also going to be additional income. I just do not like to include this into the calculation when I testing stuff, because this is not very reliable. But this strategy does give you a lot of fracture, so, and some of them does worth a decent amount of currency. This strategy is not necessarily easy to do. So number one, you're going to need Headhunter. I don't think you can do this strategy comfortably if you do not have Headhunter, considering some of the monsters can be pretty hard to kill, even if you have all the Headhunter buff. And you're also going to need pretty strong character for this one. 25 divine per hour probably not too crazy. Like 25 divine per hour this league is like pretty decent. But once again, it's nothing special, right? 25 defense is not like super crazy currency or anything like that. So at least the buff actually works, and now Abyss is actually pretty decent. It's better for them not to overturn Abyss now, especially they already mentioned it on the interview with Ciceron that the next league will be focused on mapping and endgame stuff. And I think that's it for the video, and the next video will be only Abyss, and we'll see how good Abyss standalone can be. So if you guys have any questions, just leave in the comment below. I will try my best to answer it, and if you have any suggestions, feel free to leave it on the comment below.